Good afternoon, students. I am Dr. Megha Tupe. Today we are going to see the new topic that is belongs to the paper of anatomy. The name of the topic is tears of Dicot stain. Okay. So in this we are going to study the anatomy of Dicot stain. Here in this slide, you can see the diagram. Okay, actually two diagrams are there. First diagram is the what we can say the outline of tears of Dicot stem, and another diagram is that is the in detail structure of Dicot stem, anatomical structure. In the last paper we have studied the morphology of angiosperms. In that we have studied root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, but all we have studied morphologically, how morphologically they look, how they appear, and what type of different types are their characters, what their characteristics we have studied, types we have studied, whatever modifications are there, that we have studied. In this paper, in this semester, we have to study these structures, anatomical, these angiosperms structures anatomically. Okay, how the root anatomically is there, stem and leaf, how anatomically they look, how their internal structures are there, how they are arranged, that we have to study. Okay, so this is the ground plan for the tears of Dicot stem. You can see in this slide. In this you can see that the outermost layer is of epidermis, on which epidermal hairs they are attached. Okay, how we can see the tears of stem practically? In practical, you will see that how to take the transverse section of stem. After taking the transverse section of stem with the help of blade, on slide you have to put that section of the stem, then you have to add the water drop, then put cover slip on that, and then under the microscope you can focus under 10x 40x, and you can see these structures very clearly. Okay, so we will do that, all this procedure in the practicals. Permanent preparations are also there, double staining we called it as. So all that things we will do in practical. So for doing practical we have to study theoretical things about that practical. So in this lecture we are going to study the anatomy. Okay, so this is the figure, ground plan of the tears of Dicot stem, in which you can see the epidermis have the epidermal hairs on it. Okay, inner to the epidermis there is another layer which is called as the hypodermis. Epi means above and hypo means below. Okay, derm means layer. Okay, so hypodermis is the outer layer, inner to that, sorry, epidermis is the outer layer, inner to that hypodermis is there, that is the next level or another layer which is present below the epidermis. Again below the hypodermis there is a presence of cortex. That cortical region consists of parenchymatous cells. Inner to the cortex there is a presence of endodermis. Okay, and inner to the endodermis there is presence of vascular bundles, and inner to the vascular bundles there is a presence of pith region. Okay, so these are the main layers which we have to study anatomically. So that is the ground plan, and this is the very detailed structure of anatomy of tears of Dicot stem. Okay, whatever epidermal hairs we have seen in above diagram, you can see these hairs in this diagram also. This is the ultrastructure. You can see some tissues are there in that hairs. Okay, again inner to the or the outermost layer is called cuticle. Cuticle is the outermost cuticle layer which is present on the epidermis. Of course that is present for the what we can say protection of the epidermis. Okay, inner to that epidermis is present, single layer epidermis is there which consists of parenchymatous cells. Again inner to the epidermis cholenchymatous tissues they are present. Cholenchyma, they have thickening on the cell wall, so that we can identify the cholenchymatous cells very clearly. Okay, again inner to the cholenchyma there is a presence of chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma, actually they are the chloroplast containing parenchymatous cells, okay, which are important for the process of photosynthesis. Inner to the chlorenchyma there is presence of parenchymatous tissue. which are isodiametric in shape and loosely arranged. So that is cortical region, parenchyma, collenchyma, and chlorenchyma. Okay, inner to the parenchyma, uh, there is a presence of endodermis. Endoderm layer is there, single layer endodermis you can see, and inner to the endodermis, xylem and phloem, or you can say conducting tissue, water and food conducting tissue, vascular bundles we call it as. These spherical shape things you can see, these two diagrams, they are the xylem and phloem. They are the vascular bundles which perform the function of water and food conduction. Okay, so the in blue color you can see phloem. Inner to that cambium region is present, and inner to the below side of cambium there is presence of xylem tissue. Okay, pink colored xylem is there. In case of blue color is phloem is there. Okay, so this xylem is surrounded by phloem. Okay, xylem perform the function of food material, water, and phloem perform the function of food materials and nutrients. Okay, so this is the diagram of tears of Dicot stem, which you can see very clearly, very nicely. You can observe all the each and every tissue cell of the stem. Okay, so you have to learn this diagram, and you have to remember the each and every layer of the tiers of stem. Okay, so now we will see the function of each and every layer of this tiers of Dicot stem. Okay, so epidermis is the outermost layer and has a single layer of parenchymatous cells. It possesses stomata and large number of multicellular hairs, which are called as the trichomes. Hairs which are present on the stem, that is called as trichomes. The outer walls are regularly or greatly thickened and cutinized. The cells are compactly arranged and do not possess intracellular spaces. The epidermis has following functions, that is to minimize the rate of transpiration owing thick cuticle, protects the underlying tissues from mechanical injury, then prevents the entry of harmful organisms, helps in exchange of gases through stomata. Next layer below to the epidermis is present, called as hypodermis. This layer lies below the epidermis and is composed of 4 or 5 layers of collenchymatous cells. The cells are specially thickened at the corners against the intercellular spaces due to deposition of cellulose and pectin. The cells are living in nature and may contain few chloroplasts. It provides mechanical strength and elasticity to the peripheral portion of the stem, particularly the young and growing organs. They perform photosynthesis and also act as a storage of food. Next layer is of cortex. It lies below the hypodermis. It consists of few layers of thin-walled, large, rounded or oval living parenchymatous cells having intracellular spaces. Cells of cortex may contain some chloroplast which may function to manufacture of food materials. Okay, and they serve for the storage of food. Cortical region. Inner to the cortex there is presence of endodermis. It is single layered innermost layer of the cortex which separates the cortex from vascular bundles. The cells are somewhat barrel shaped and compactly arranged, having no intracellular spaces and are parenchymatous. Usually the cells contain starch grains, and thus the endodermis may be termed as a starch sheath which consists of starch. So they serve as a food material, reserve food for the plant. Next layer is of pericycle. It lies in between the endodermis and vascular bundles. It is generally composed of sclerenchymatous and parenchymatous cells. The sclerenchyma is in the form of semiluminar patches above the vascular bundles, which give mechanical support to the plant parts. Similarly, parenchymatous pericycle is present outside the medullary rays, which serves to the store food. Inner to the pericycle there is presence of xylem and phloem, that is vascular bundles. Xylem lies towards the pith of vascular bundle. It consists of trachees, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. These are the components of xylem tissue. Trachees and vessels consist of smaller protoxylem and larger metaxylem. Protoxylem is first form that lies towards the center, but metaxylem lies later from form that lies towards the periphery. This type of xylem is called endarched xylem. It helps in conduction of sap. Phloem is it lies just below the sclerenchymatous patch of pericycle and is composed of following elements such as the sieve tubes, companion cells, and phloem parenchyma. It conducts the food. Again, cambium, it lies in between xylem and phloem. It consists of a narrow strip of meristematic cells having large nuclei and dense cytoplasm called fascicular cambium. It is responsible for secondary growth in thickness of the plant body. And innermost layer is of pith. It occupies the central portion of the stem. It is composed of thin-walled parenchymatous cells which are rounded or polygonal with or without intracellular spaces. Food is stored in this region. Medullary rays, these are the thin-walled, radially enlarged parenchymatous cells present in between vascular bundles, and these store food materials and help in internal translocation of water. Okay students, so in this presentation we have seen the TS of Dicot stem. We have studied the anatomy of Dicot stem. I hope you will understand, you have understood the TS of Dicot stem anatomically properly. Okay, so in the next lecture we will see another topic. Thank you.